Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in again. I really hope that you enjoyed Tuesday's video. We got some lovely feedback and some topics sent to us as well. So we will try and cover all the topics that we've been asked to do. Now, one of those topics was dinosaurs. Now, unfortunately, we do not have any dinosaurs. But what I thought we could do is the next best thing and cover reptiles. Okay, so we kind of covered classification in the last video, so you know all about these reptiles now. They are those dry, scaly skinned animals. They've got cold blood, so meaning they cannot keep themselves nice and warm like we can. And also, most of those reptiles will lay eggs, but today we are going to meet one that actually doesn't lay eggs. They give birth to their babies. So these animals, they just want to keep you on your toes. Now, before we get to that animal, we are going to meet our friend Puff. Now, Puff, he is a bearded dragon. Now, I am sure most of you have met bearded dragons before. Okay, they are one of the most popular reptiles to keep as a pet in the UK. But unfortunately, they are also the #1 rehomed reptile in the UK. Now, there's several reasons for this. One, they're very cheap to buy, but very expensive to keep. Okay. Two, they're not going to do tricks for you. So often people get a little bit bored by them. Okay, they're not going to play fetch. They're probably not going to cuddle on the sofa with you. Okay, and they're not the type of animal that you should get to expect that. Okay, it's really important that if you do have a bearded dragon, any type of reptile, you get the setup correct. And these guys, because they naturally would come from the Australian desert, we've got to replicate the desert in their home environment here at the zoo. Okay, so to do that, we need to replicate the heat, we need to replicate the sun, and also their food. And now he is an omnivore. Now, omnivores, they eat everything. So wild bearded dragons, they would eat anything from bugs, beetles, worms. They will also eat small lizards, they will eat small rodents, they will eat vegetation such as flowers, fruits. So we have to replicate that with his diet here as well. Now, they're called the bearded dragon because when people were first walking through the Australian desert, they came across this lizard and they went, "Ooh, it's a dragon!" And then because they startled the lizard, he puffed out his chin. And when these guys get scared, they make their chin go black. So then they said, "Oh, he's got a beard. He is a bearded dragon." And that name stuck. So we now refer to them as the beardies, the bearded dragons. Now, you can find these guys living wide across Australian deserts, the shrublands, the savannas. They adapt really, really well. The weather there is perfect for them. And these guys are known as semi-arboreal, which means they can climb. Not very well, you're not going to find them right at the top of the tree, but you often find them on low-level branches and even fence posts as well. Now, these guys, to help protect them, have got, I'm going to get him a little bit closer. You can see he's got all of these spikes down the side of his tummy, just here. Okay, and those help to protect him. If a predator comes along, what he will do is puff his body out, make himself look as big as possible. And all of those spikes, they stand up. The other animal is then going to look at him and go, "Yeah, do you know what? I'm not going to eat you. You are probably going to hurt me." A bit like eating a cactus. Okay, but actually, these spikes are just like rubber. They're really soft. So they probably wouldn't hurt any animal if they're going to eat them. Okay, and can you see this beautiful colour of him? He matches the sand. He camouflages. He blends into where he lives so other animals cannot see him. These guys are masters of camouflage. Now, I'm going to give you a little closer look at him because he is a very handsome little boy. Okay, beautiful. Next up, we have got our friend Simon. Now, Simon is called a blue-tongued skink. I wonder if you can guess why. Have a look. Now, he's called a blue-tongued skink because he's got this bright blue tongue. Now, do excuse him, he doesn't have manners. He will continue to stick his tongue out at you. Okay, he's a little bit like a snake in that respect, that he is using his tongue to taste the air. Now, by tasting the air, that helps his sense of smell, and he can smell whether there's any predators about, so those scary animals, those dangerous animals, but also if there's anything that he wants to eat. Now, Simon here, he is an omnivore. Omnivores, like we spoke about with Puff the Bearded Dragon, like to eat everything. So he will eat his fruits, his vegetables. He will eat meat, so small rodents, maybe other small lizards. But he's got really strong jaw. You can see his wide head here, okay? And he's got a really strong jaw that will allow him to crunch through snail shells just really easily. And he just crunches away all the way through those. And that is what he enjoys. Snails are one of his favourites, actually. And blueberries, funnily enough. I don't think that's what changes the colour of his tongue though. Now you would find these guys living throughout Australia. They can live in a wide variety of habitats. So grassland, desert, even farms and parks, people often find them. These guys are not very scared of people. And people will often, if you've been to Australia, you've probably seen a blue-tongued skink. Okay, and these guys, you can see he's got really small legs. And rather than walking on his legs, he slithers on his tummy like a snake. And that helps him to be able to burrow underneath the ground. And that's what he would like to do to save himself. Now, the blue-tongued skink are one of my favourites because the reason he's got this bright blue tongue is to scare off other animals. So if a predator approaches him, what he will do is open his mouth out wide. Inside his mouth, it's bright pink like my t-shirt. And then he sticks his bright blue tongue out. Now to animals, bold markings or bright colours on their body, it is a warning that that animal could be poisonous, venomous, or very dangerous. And most animals, when seeing his bright blue tongue, will just go, yeah, I'm going to leave you alone. Okay, and that helps him, well, stops him from getting eaten. But also, if the animal attacks from the other end, so grabs hold of his tail can come off. That's right. So that is a distraction for that predator that's attacking him, grabbing his tail. They've got their dinner. He can then run off and get safe, and then he can grow a whole new tail. It's pretty incredible. Now these guys can live for about 20 years. Simon was rehomed to us a few years ago. He's coming up to 12 years old now, so he's getting on a little bit. But I think you can appreciate he is a very handsome little chap. Have a little closer look at him. Now these holes on the side of his head that I'm trying to show you there, those are not gills. Those are his ears. So let me just see if I can get, so just under my finger there. Simon, you can't get closer to the camera. So those are his ears just there. And you can see his little tiny little legs. He often gets mistaken for a snake. There we go. I hope you enjoyed meeting Simon. For our next animal, we are going to meet our friend Blinky. Now, Blinky is called a leopard gecko. Now, leopard geckos get their name because of all of these spots on their body. It looks like a leopard print, and hence the name, a leopard gecko. Now, these guys are amazing. If they think that they are going to get eaten by a predator, what they will do is drop their tail off of their body. It completely falls off, and then it starts to wiggle on the floor like a worm. Now that distracts the predator, so the predator will eat their tail, and then the gecko, because it's lost the weight of its tail, can then run off really, really quick and hide. Now it's really special because these guys, when they lose their tail, it is because a message is sent from their brain that goes all the way down their spine. It releases a chemical which then lets their tail pop off, and that is what makes the tail wiggle. Then that stops any blood flow, so they don't bleed, because if you can imagine, if they were bleeding because they lost their tail, when they ran to find somewhere to hide, they would leave a blood trail, and that predator would then eat their tail and go, right, I've had my starter, I want my main course, and would follow the gecko's trail and then get them. So it's really, really clever. Then it gets even better. These guys can regrow their tail. Now we can tell that Blinky, this is his original tail, because can you see how it's tapered? It gets thinner at the end. If he had lost his tail, I kind of refer to them as looking like a light bulb, you know, like the rounded end. So it would kind of just grow like this, and it would just be bulbed at the end, and that is how you can tell if a leopard gecko has lost their tail. Now these guys are nocturnal, and you'd find them in southern Asia, so around India, Pakistan, Iran, those places in the world. And these guys can be found in the desert, the rocky deserts, or they can actually be found in shrubland as well. So they live in a wide variety of habitats. And being nocturnal, they come out at night, so they will be asleep during the day. Now you can see, if I get him really close, can you see? Blinky, stay still. Can you see, if the camera will focus, his eyes? Are we going to focus on there? I have to apologise because before I had assistance, I had Megan assisting me with the camera, but because we have been asked to stay at home, that does mean our staff as well, so I'm kind of running things at the moment, so trying to do this on my own. So I will try again, see if I can get us to kind of focus. There we go. So can you see his eyes? I kind of refer to them as like a dinosaur eye, but because his pupil is this long line down his eye, that allows his eye to open up and allow so much moonlight in. So during the night, when he can't can't see so well, being able to let all of that moonlight in allows him to navigate a lot better. But these guys, they might not rely so much on their sight, whereas they will feel vibrations. So they might hear a predator coming either through like smell or through the vibrations that they make when they move. Okay, and geckos, you'd think that they're really, really quiet creatures, but actually they make a lot of noises. They do vocalize, and if they're scared, they kind of sound to me like when you rev a remote control car. That's the kind of sound that they make when they are scared. But I really hope that you enjoyed meeting Blinky. Now for our last animal, it's one of my favourites, don't tell the others though. Okay, this is Custard. She is a crested gecko. Now they are also known as the eyelash gecko. I will show you why. I'm going to do my little magic. There we go. Oh, it's not working. There we go. Can you see around her eye? She has got these scales that look like eyelashes. And you will also notice that the pupil of her eye is very much like Blinky, the leopard gecko that we met. This pinstripe down. So at the moment it is light in here, so it's really, really closed up. But at night time, when she comes out to hunt for her insects, that will open right up, allowing all of the moonlight into her eye, so she is able to find them better. Now you might be able to see as well her beautiful feet. These guys have what I refer to as like sticky feet. So what she's able to do is she actually has like a double jointed toe. So she can stretch her toes upwards like this, which stretch out these hair-like scales on her feet. And when she stretches her feet down again, it grips on to whatever she's holding on to. So these guys will live in the rainforests, and they actually come from only one place. It's the New Caledonian Islands around Australia. And these geckos were actually thought to be extinct until 1994, when they were rediscovered on those islands, and that is the only place you will find them living. And there are actually 4 different subspecies of these crested geckos, and they each have their own quarter of the island. They just live in each separate little corners there. Now can you see her tongue there? Show everybody your beautiful tongue. Now these guys are one of those geckos with no eyelid. So what she has to do is lick her eye to rehydrate them. So she cannot blink. So she was just sticking out her tongue there to show you that. Oh, look. And these guys are really good at jumping as well. So I'm kind of expecting a repeat performance. Like Mel the Frog in our last video, I'm expecting Custard to launch at the camera as well. Now, she has got this tail here, and this is no... Where you go and see? She's got what's called a prehensile tail. Now, we may have heard about prehensile tails with monkeys. And these prehensile tails help them in the trees. So she's going to live in the canopy layer. Sorry, I'm just trying to get her in focus again. So she's going to live in the canopy layer of the rainforest, and her tail, her prehensile tail, is going to help her balance up there. Now, like we spoke about with Blinky, the leopard gecko, when a predator comes along, he can drop his tail, and Custard can do exactly the same thing. But what she will do is she drops her tail, and it doesn't grow back. So then she has to reteach herself how to climb up in the trees without this tail. It's a nightmare. Really, that doesn't make sense to me, that an animal that lives on the floor, like Blinky, the leopard gecko, when he loses his tail, it grows back for him. Amazing. But these guys actually need their tail. It doesn't grow back. They just have to completely relearn how to live. Now, she would eat a lot of insects. She would eat fruits, nectar. But I really hope that you enjoy meeting her, because she is, like I said, one of my favourites. I would like you to look at the camera. There we go. So now the animals are all back in their enclosures, happily sleeping or eating. That's generally what they like to do. I can tell you a little bit more about what we're trying to do. So these videos, they are to keep you happy and, you know, not getting bored during our self-isolation at the moment, because I know how tricky that can be for everybody. So hopefully the animals have brought a smile to your face. Unfortunately, because of the current situation, we're not able to go out and about with our animals, and that is our sole source of income, to be able to keep our animals. So if you are able, even if it is just £1, if you are able to donate towards our animal care fund, we would be so grateful. We've also got an Amazon wish list, which is going, so if you would prefer not to give money but to actually send a tangible object to our animals, that would be really appreciated as well. And what we'll do in the comments below, we'll add all of the links to those. But do keep your eyes open for our videos. What we're going to try and do is every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 AM we will post a new video, and if there is any topic that you would like covering, please let us know. See you soon.